Does submission mean silence? Who are the higher powers? Is we the people biblical? Who is America's governing authority? Let's walk through Romans 13 carefully and see what it actually teaches. Romans 13 verses 1 through 7 is one of the most cited and debated in the New Testament regarding civil government. The Apostle Paul writes that governing authorities are established by God, and that resistance to authority is resistance to God's ordinance. At first glance, this passage appears to conflict with the principles underlying the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States, which place governing authority in the hands of the people rather than a king or ruling class. However, when examined carefully, these documents are not in contradiction. Instead, the American system reflects a different location of governing authority, one that is still compatible with the biblical framework Paul describes. Romans 13 verses 1 through 7. The biblical framework. Paul writes, "Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God." Paul continues by describing government as a minister of God, a rewarder of good, a punisher of evil, an authority that may lawfully bear the sword. Paul's teaching assumes that government exists by God's permission, and authority is delegated, not self-created. And 3, authority is accountable to God's moral order. Importantly, Paul does not specify what form government must take: monarchy, empire, republic, or otherwise. His concern is function, not structure. The Declaration of Independence, the source of authority. The Declaration of Independence of 1776 begins with a theological premise. We hold these truths to be self-evident: that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Here, authority begins with God, not the state. It then states that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. This line is crucial. It asserts that government is instituted, not eternal or divine in itself. Its power is delegated. Its legitimacy comes from the people. This mirrors Romans 13 in structure. God establishes the governing authority. The authority is delegated to human institutions, and institutions are accountable for justice. We the people, the Constitution, and the governing authority. The U.S. Constitution opens with, "We the people of the United States," in order to form a more perfect union. This phrase does not deny God's authority. Instead, it identifies who holds governing power within the system. In the American constitutional order, the people are the sovereign authority. Government officials are servants. Power is limited, enumerated, and restrained. This aligns with Romans 13:4. "For he is the minister of God to thee for good." In the U.S. system, the people collectively authorize government to act as that minister. Constitutional safeguards against tyranny. The founders were deeply aware of human sinfulness. Romans 3:23 and Jeremiah 17:9. Therefore, the Constitution includes safeguards consistent with biblical realism. The separation of powers. It prevents the concentration of authority, and it reflects distrust of man's fallen human nature. The Constitution incorporated checks and balances to limit abuses and enforce accountability. The amendments and rights. The Bill of Rights restrains government power over God-given liberties. The First Amendment protects religious liberty, speech, and conscience. The Second Amendment recognizes the right of self-defense, and the Fourth through the Eighth Amendments guard against unjust punishment. These protections echo biblical justice principles such as due process, Deuteronomy 19:15, which says, "One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity or for any sin in any sin that he sinneth. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or at the mouth of 3 witnesses shall the matter be established." Or in simpler terms, never convict anyone on the testimony of 1 witness. There must be at least 2, and 3 is even better. Limits on punishment, Exodus chapters 21, 22, and chapter 23. Protection of conscience, Acts 5:29. But Peter and the apostles replied, "We must obey God rather than men when authority becomes unjust." The declaration also states, "Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it." This does not contradict Romans 13. Scripture itself records righteous resistance when authorities command disobedience to God, Daniel 3 and Acts 4 and 5, or act unjustly or tyrannically, Exodus 1:15 through 32 and 1 Kings 21. Romans 13 assumes legitimate authority fulfilling its God-given role. When authority abandons justice, it ceases to function as God's minister. Why? The people are the governing authority. In the American system, God is the ultimate authority. God endows people with rights. The people delegate authority to government. Government serves under moral restraint. Thus, obeying lawful government in the U.S. is still obedience to Romans 13 because the authority originates from a system the people themselves lawfully established. And to summarize, Romans 13 to 1-7 and the founding documents of the United States are not opposing visions of authority. They are compatible expressions of the same principle. Authority is delegated, accountable, and ordered by God for the good of society. The American system uniquely locates that delegated authority in we the people, creating a government that is powerful enough to punish evil, yet restrained enough to protect liberty. An arrangement deeply consistent with biblical teaching on human nature, justice, and responsibility.